5 minutes after 7 o'clock, 7:05. Good morning. Welcome to the show. We have a guest in studio this morning. Mr. Mark Arness is here with us, who is running for the 5th District, the Congressional seat currently held by Steny Hoyer. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, T.
We are going to be talking a little bit about what prompted you to run for office, what you would like to achieve if you were to win the seat, and why people should vote for you. So let's start with the beginning. You're running for the 5th District seat, which is held by Steny Hoyer, has been held for quite a while by him.
33 years.
33 years, yeah.
What prompted you, Mark? I mean, why now? Why are you going after this seat now?
Well, I'm a physician. I served in the military for many years, and we've been a resident of Calvert for over 10 years now. When I came back after service, I wanted to start a private practice here, and I made a go of it for a few years. But I found that in the insurance environment now makes it virtually impossible for a physician to establish.
Tell me from a doctor's standpoint, why? Why is it impossible or not impossible, but why is it difficult to run a practice?
Well, the insurance companies have. I say very assiduously chipped away at the pie until they collect almost the entire pie, and there's hardly anything left for the nurses and doctors. I would submit claims and then wait 6 months to get a check for $9 and a 20-page letter of explanation for why the claim was denied.
It's funny you should say that, because the same thing is happening on the other side of the coin. As a patient, as someone who's going to the doctor, we just got a bill the other day for, I don't know, lab work or something that was done like 6 months ago, and you're right. It came in an envelope. I thought it was like a phone book. And it was, and the bill was it 2 cents?
No, it was $7.
$7. Okay, so it's a $7 bill. A mountain of paper. I can't make sense of it. And it's for a procedure that happened months ago that I thought we already paid, but there's still bills showing up. I can't make sense of it. It's a nightmare. The whole healthcare system is a nightmare.
So you decided to take your placard off the wall, and you weren't going to operate or do practice in St. Mary's or Calvert. So what did you do after that?
Well, I've done consulting, and currently I'm actually working in Virginia as a consultant. So there are still jobs there, but you have to drive a long ways or even relocate. And I talked to the wife. I said, I think we might have to pack up the kids and the stuff, sell the house, and load the truck and go to Virginia or even someplace farther west. She said, I'm not leaving Maryland. I love Maryland.
I do too.
And this is a story that we hear over and over and over again. Although the scenarios might vary a little bit, but the end result is always the same, somebody leaving Maryland. And we've got doctors going, how can a doctor go out of business? You hear that and you go, well, how is it even possible? It's happening en masse in Maryland. And the state is driving skilled labor and high-level jobs out of the market. Every politician that has come in here and been on this morning show has said the same thing. I'm going to work on bringing jobs back to Maryland. What's your take on that?
We have to lower taxes. Taxes are just out of control.
And you're not a fan of the flat tax?
No. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but go ahead.
Briefly, over 30,000 people left Maryland last year. They took over 1,000 small businesses with them and all the jobs in those businesses. Maryland ranks now 49 out of 50 states for economic growth. In fact, it's negative. It's negative because people are leaving.
See, now, that's interesting that you say that. And I just watched a commercial last night with Anthony Brown saying, we've built this unbelievably strong economy here in Maryland. The disconnect is so great. I can't make sense of it.
Well, that's the problem with the Democrat platform. It's entirely fictitious. And they'll say the darndest things about things that you patently know to be absurd or simply untrue or just gross fiction. And they'll turn the sky from blue to red, and they've tried to turn Maryland from red to blue.
Okay, so how are you going to get jobs to come back to Maryland as a U.S. congressman?
When elected. My pledge to the constituency is I will sponsor and vote for legislation to lower income taxes, to lower all taxes, corporate taxes, and all these taxes are really excessive and mostly unnecessary.
Hold on, Mark. I got a question for you.
All right.
You know, you heard the big thing about, GE. They paid a nominal amount of taxes. You would like to reduce corporate taxes. However, corporations are able to hire the CPAs and hire the Deloitte and Touches and do all this stuff to already pay. I mean, how much lower do these huge corporations, which I believe are not paying their fair share as it is?
Yeah, large corporations, of course, have an army of lawyers, and they find all the loopholes in the tax laws to take advantage of.
Right.
What I'm really talking about here is small businesses. Small
Okay.
businesses is the engine that drives the powerhouse of America's economy. Small businesses collectively account for more than half of all the growth and the revenue. It's these small businesses that have less than 100 or less than 50 employees, and there's thousands and thousands of them. That's the economic powerhouse, and they're getting killed. I talk to people on the highway every day. I knock on people's doors, and I've met a lot of businessmen and women here in Maryland that all tell me the same thing. They're paying 39% in federal and state tax. They're at the maximum level. They pay another 6% in sales taxes. Then they've got to keep the lights on and pay for their employees. When all's said and done, it's more than half of all the earnings are just lost.
So lower the income taxes and give small business either not tax credits, but actually lower the taxes that they're facing.
We need to lower taxes across the board. Income tax accounts for about 30% of all revenues. If we could identify all the fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement, I'm sure we could save more than 30%. We really don't need an income tax. Your money is getting wasted.
Well, I couldn't agree more. But to that, then why would you be opposed to, say, a flat tax, where we could simply do away with the Internal Revenue Service right out of the gate? Everybody would pay a set fee, and wouldn't that then alleviate a mass majority of this fraud and goofy, loophole finding things that are happening? Wouldn't that just everybody pay? I don't know, whatever, 30%. Everybody pays 30%. Boom, right out of the gate.
A flat tax is deceptively appealing, and it seems simple and it seems attractive. However, a flat tax is regressive tax because what it does is simply shift the taxation burden from the affluent classes to the middle class. Also, to achieve the same level of revenue, you do have to tax people at a much higher rate, probably at least 30%. Folks that have proposed 15 or 20% flat tax, what we're going to have is you're going to see a drop in revenue from that.
Obviously, so then you need to cut spending. If you have a
then
drop
you have to cut
spending. I mean, are you opposed to cutting spending? I mean, there is some stuff out there that could be cut. I mean, if you took a red marker, you could cut it.
We need to cut spending. There's a lot of wasteful spending going on, and taxes are out of control.
Okay, so you're not a fan of Obamacare either.
Well, let me just say this. Like the Holy Roman Empire, which was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is neither about patient protection, nor is it affordable, nor is it about health care.
How is a patient not protected?
It's a insurance scheme, and the purpose of the thing is to impose a kind of penalty tax on insurance. First, the Obama administration told us that it's not an insurance tax, and that this is
the first thing they said was it's not a tax.
Then they went to the Supreme Court and argued that it is a tax so they could get it passed.
Right. And then
you gotta love it. You gotta love the ingenuity.
Yeah, the Supreme Court then agreed with them that it is a tax, and then would fall under the auspices of the IRS, which is a debacle and
it's an insurance
blatantly
tax.
Corrupt.
It's an insurance tax. It doesn't protect patients. It doesn't provide health care. It doesn't increase your access to health care. It's not a good plan. It's been modified 28 times by the president with no apparent effect. And I hear from people every day, yes, you do get to keep your health care, America, but you just have to be willing to pay double or even triple for it.
So let's go. Let's rejoin the Steny conversation. He has been holding the seat, the congressional seat, for 32, 33 years?
33.
30
Since 1981 in a special election.
there are a lot of people, especially in this area, that are of the mindset of, let's don't upset the apple cart here. Stenny's in there. He's established. He has a lot of political gravitas that goes with him. Why should we then get rid of that, bring in a new guy?
Let's look what happened to Eric Cantor in Virginia just last week. It looks like the electorate is getting fed up with Washington insiders and Beltway bandits. The folks in Virginia turned out to Eric for in an upset election for a completely unknown grassroots fellow who just popped up out of the shrubbery. And I think there's an opportunity here to do the same thing, and I'm sure that Stenny has sat up and taken notice of this. He's been there for an awful long time. He's influenced heavily by lobbyists and special interest groups. I don't think that he represents the needs or interests of Southern Maryland.
Well, one of the concerns as it revolves around Stenny is the base. Stenny is intrinsically tied to that base, and the concern that people have is if Stenny goes away, maybe the base would go away.
Or not survive the next BRAC.
Stenny likes to take credit all day long and twice on Sunday for keeping Lexington Park Naval Air Station and the Indian Head Surface Warfare Center. In fact, the BRAC is responsible for keeping both of those, and the Base Realignment Closure Committee, the BRAC, is actually completely not influenced by Congress. In fact, by law, cannot be. And so Stenny's taking credit for somebody else's work.
All right. Well, what? I know you have some issues, some social issues as well.
Yeah, let's talk about gay marriage, Mark.
What's your take on that?
Well, you know, that's been established by law, darn it. But I always thought that marriage was an institution between men and women for building families. And that's a thing that's very difficult for me to explain to my 8-year-old daughter. She asked me the other day, Daddy, why do men want to marry other men? And I said, you know, darling, I can't really explain that.
Yeah.
I don't understand it myself.
It is.
Love is love. Love is love. Love is love. Why deny a couple? You said on your website, you know, government doesn't belong in our bedrooms. It doesn't belong in our schoolrooms. So if two people love each other and, you know, God bless them, whatever, if you find somebody out there that loves you and all your disgustingness and whatever when you wake up in the morning, why deny them the opportunity to get married?
I would not deny anybody rights guaranteed by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. We all have those. The right to pursue happiness is, I think, a God-given right endowed by our Creator, the right to life, liberty, and happiness. And the Constitution is a document. These are ideas on a piece of paper, but the truths that we hold to be self-evident are endowed upon us by a divine authority. And the Constitution guarantees
amended
that.
27 times. The Constitution, when they wrote it, it was malleable, and it's been amended 27 times.
Yes, it has. And that's speaks to the nature of the document, the flexibility of it, and the usefulness of it. That it's not something that was carved in stone at the dawn of time and must be forever unchanged. It is a document which guarantees our natural rights, and our system, because it's flexible and responsive, is probably the best system on Earth now. But I think it was Winston Churchill who said that all government is terrible, and
he was right.
The worst, the parliamentary or democratic form of government is awful, but all the others are worse.
The whole gay marriage thing. This is my sphere of concern when it comes to that. If it doesn't impact my life, I don't know where it becomes my business to be involved in it. And I can't for the life of me. I've tried. I've thought about it. I've thought long and hard about it. I don't see where two people forming a union, a bond of love, is going to impact my life one way or another. I couldn't care less about gay marriage. Go on and be happy. And I would say, in fairness, is there any law that I could construct that would keep you away from your wife? that would make you say to your wife, we can't be together? Because there's no law that you can construct that would keep me away from Heather. I'd take you out with a quickness.
Well, I can appreciate that, T. Honestly, I don't understand why government needs to be involved in this business at all. And the problem with our government now is that we have a government of ultra progressives. The Obama administration and the liberals have created an environment of ultra progressivism, which is it's a radical form of extremism.
Do you
Well,
think
what it is, when you hear and I've said this many times on the program, and I think it needs to become part of the vernacular of America. The communists were clever enough in the late 40s, early 50s to change the verbiage from communism to progressive. When you hear somebody saying progressive, what they're really saying is communism.
That was in the 40s, though, T.
No, oh, no. I agree with T. That is spot on correct.
Surprise, Mark.
Listen. Communism doesn't test well. You know what tests well? Progressivism. No one ever asks what we're progressing to.
Now, hold on. This progressiveness that you're talking about that is inundated, inside the Beltway, do you think that is a very vocal minority? Or do you think it is a majority inside the Beltway? Do you think it's the squeaky wheel getting the grease inside the Beltway? Or do you think more people think on a more conservative slant?
I think that the majority of mainstream Americans and the voters in Southern Maryland particularly are moderate conservatives. And that they have traditional values, and that they adhere to a traditional American way of life, mom and apple pie, the things that we hold dear. And there is a very vocal minority of extremely effective lobbyists and special interest groups that want to change our way of life. And I am running for this office because I believe that our nation has embarked on a perilous course. This is a dangerous path.
I agree with you.
This is a dangerous path.
I think you're spot on correct.
We're going to become a socialist nation. And
think
some
you're correct.
damage has already been done, a lot of damage, in fact, and it's going to take a lot of work to undo it. Socialism is a very insidious and an appealing in many respects. But as Winston Churchill also said, the follies of socialism are inexhaustible.
You keep quoting the British, though, Mark. Are you not aware of the War of 1812?
Let me quote an American author.
Please,
I'll quote Pearl S. Buck. And Pearl said that...
I like Pearl S. Buck.
Yes, she was a lovely lady. She said that the true measure of any society is the way in which it treats its most helpless members.
Exactly.
The very young and the very old. As a physician, I swore when I took the Hippocratic Oath to preserve, protect, and defend the lives of the very elderly and the very young. And I'm afraid that the incumbent has voted time and again for legislation which not only threatens the lives of these people, the young and the old, but also would seek to penalize doctors like myself seeking to preserve that life. He has voted to revoke Medicare or Medicaid payments and reimbursement for physicians who don't offer an elective termination of pregnancy, for example, or who don't offer other medical services. And this is a big social controversy.
Well, you know what, Mark? I think you got, honestly, I think you got a steep hill to climb. But I appreciate you coming in today. If somebody wants to learn more about you, your candidacy, how do they find that?
My website is www.arnessforcongress.com.
Okay, now before we leave, we're going to lighten it up a little bit. I'm asking everybody, okay? This gives a real insight into who Mark Arness is. And you're like a second cousin of James Arness, right?
Yes, I am. Once removed at least. Lay it on me, Heather. What do you got?
Mayonnaise or Miracle Whip?
I don't even know what Miracle Whip is, honestly. I am a mayo guy.
T! agree. What do
you
you
have
think?
no chance.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Mark.
I had to get one bone from
Thank
Heather.
you for coming in.
There you
I
go.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good luck to you. If you want to learn some more, again, it is markarness.com. Is that correct?
Arnessforcongress.com.
I'm sorry, arnessforcongress.com. All right, well, look into it, see what you think, and then get out there and do your civic duty and vote.
Thank you, Mark.
Y'all vote for me now here.
All right, 724. Let's get a check of traffic, see what's going on.